Are you curious on how to turn your dreams into a reality? How to take these New Year's resolutions and actually do something with them? How to take the vision beyond the board, if you know what I mean? Are you wanting to take a leap of faith in business, travel, life, relationships, but you're scared of the unknown? Welcome to Transform with Travel, a show helping busy professionals plan more bucket list trips that reignite adventure and go beneath the surface, without the overwhelm of planning, the endless midnight scroll, and the crowded tourist traps. Buckle up because we are about to take off. We are almost done with January, and historically, we see that this is around the time that our big, wild goals for the year that we set at the beginning of January, they start to drop off a little bit. That's why I wanted to bring on today's special guest. I have Marisa McConnell on the pod today. So Marisa and I have been friends for 18 years. I can't even believe I'm saying that, 18 years. And we have truly seen each other go through it all of the evolutions, all of the changes, all of the hairstyles. Don't even get me started on our 15-year-old bangs that we had back in the day. And it's such a treat to have her share her story and her insights. Marisa McConnell is the owner and creator of The Wander Shop, a lifestyle shop featuring apparel and accessories curated by local and small brands. And The Wander Shop, as you can tell in the name, it was inspired by her love to travel. And she truly champions the shop local movement, as well as her business's motto, celebrate the unknown. Marisa is going to inspire you in this episode to recommit to your goals, celebrate and lean into the unknown, and how to pivot when the vision requires you to change. If you're an overpacker, Marisa is a self-proclaimed overpacker, but she knows how to do it well. So she gives us some tips on how to pack if you're an overpacker, how to plan a seamless vacation with your girlies, and what's to come in fashion in 2025. All right, I'm super grateful that you chose to press play and to spend a little bit of time with me today. So without further ado, let's go. Welcome to the Transform with Travel podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Tolliday, and I'm here with a very special guest. You might actually be the guest that I've known the longest in my life. So I was doing the math. We've known each other for 18 years.
Yes.
Wild.
Crazy.
So crazy. And we've really seen each other grow and transform and evolve from our swimming days to being little concert rats and like stalking band members.
Literally embarrassing.
I mean, I can't.
We can skip that part.
The Facebook memories that pop up, I'm like, girl, the bangs. What are we doing?
What were we doing? The side bangs.
What are we doing with the bangs?
No more side bangs.
And then really just like our businesses and our travel and watching you grow with your business, The Wander Shop. So before I get too far into it, just welcome, Marisa. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And I always want to say Marisa Folz because that's your maiden name, but it's Marisa McConnell.
Yes. I'm Marisa Folz McConnell. So we moved the
legally.
Folz, yes, legally to the middle. Yeah, I had to keep it.
You'll always be Marisa Folz to me. So, and you are the owner of The Wander Shop.
Correct.
Which is a boutique fashion store in Fort Lauderdale. And you're lovingly known as like Mrs. Fort Lauderdale because everyone knows you.
Literally. Or the girl with the Airstreams. So
exactly. And so I guess we could like jump straight into it. Today, we're going to talk about what it's like to bring a vision into reality and kind of changing and evolving with that vision, as well as how travel has played a role in your business and your life. So I'm really excited to get started with that.
Yay, let's do it.
And before we begin, we like to play a little game on the podcast called Two Truths and a Lie Travel Edition.
All right.
And I feel like I know you pretty well, so I'm going to see if you can dupe me on this one.
Okay,
ready?
Well, I think I made it too easy,
okay.
But
okay, go ahead.
Okay. I don't overpack. I'm the planner. I've only been to one country in Europe.
Oh, you made that too easy.
I know.
So you would think it would be the one country in Europe because you travel a lot.
Yep.
But you do overpack. And I know that because I am your emotional packing buddy.
Yes. I'm like, help me. I got too much stuff.
So the lie is that she overpacks. We're actually going to learn, even though she overpacks, how she stays organized. We're going to learn that later in the episode. So definitely stay tuned towards the end of the episode for that. And you are definitely the planner in the group. And she's going to talk a lot about what it's like to plan for a group of friends going on a girls' trip, as we all know can be chaotic. So we're going to hear about that as well. And then that you've only been to one country in Europe, but you've actually been there multiple times.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about why you like to revisit certain places. So lots of that to come. And so, as I mentioned, you're the owner of The Wander Shop. And I love the tagline of the business is celebrate the unknown. I'd love to start with, like, what does celebrate the unknown mean to you?
I think that when I started the Wander Shop, it was at a time of uncertainty and I was young and I've always been like this, very positive outlook, things are looking bad, but I somehow always find like a positive in every negative that comes out. So I think that you should embrace the unknown. And that's kind of where it comes from is like you should celebrate the unknown and don't be scared to just take a risk and go for it. And that's kind of where it kind of all stemmed from. It can be to anything, life, fashion. Like I try to get people in the store to step out of their boundary. They said, that's not really them, but I'm like, just try it, It's always good to like just try something new.
Yeah, and you've done that for me too. I'm like,
Yes.
nope, I know my set, like you said, my set boundary, my comfort zone. Just try this. I'm like,
Yep.
wow, I could wear a dress like this. I had no idea. So I love that. And you are now celebrating 9 years of the shop. So you would have been very young starting this. And I know you've had fashion runs in your family. You've been around retail before. But I'd love to hear about where the original vision for the Wander Shop came from.
So originally it was supposed to be a wandering store, hence the name The Wander Shop, because I wanted to be able to work and travel. So I wanted to have a store, but I didn't want to commit to a storefront. I just wanted to be able to do online pop-ups and travel around to different locations and see where that kind of took me. So that was like the name of The Wander Shop and why it was called The Wander. It was a wandering store.
I love that. And how did you take that vision of being able to work and travel and bring your love of fashion to life? How did you bring that vision into a reality? What did that look like?
So I started off doing just pop-ups only. The idea was to get a mobile boutique. I had seen it somewhere and I thought that was so cool. So that was just like the goal. And I just did a ton of pop-ups until I could afford a Airstream. And I finally, I think 6 months in, I found one and we converted it. We did all the work ourselves. So it was like super low budget.
When you say we, who's this? You and your mom?
And yes, and my dad, he's the one that knows how to use all the tools. I'm just like, yes, let's do this. All right, get it done. Handyman.
Off you go.
Yes. So, yes, we converted that. I put all my friends to work. So every single friend had worked on that first Airstream. And I think it meant a lot, too, because we did the work on it. And it was really special.
Yeah. And where were you when this all came about? I know that you went to school up in Orlando. And so where did the Airstream come to life first?
It was in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I had moved to Fort Lauderdale after college in Orlando. And I had been working in the event world and I just was ready to like kind of do something a little different. And I started helping the family business. And through that, I was able to kind of spend extra time to be able to build the brand.
Yeah, perfect. And with the Airstream, you traveled around to different like festivals and pop-ups and stuff like that. And then eventually you landed yourself in a spot, like kind of a permanent spot, but in an Airstream. Can you talk about how the vision changes over time? So the original vision was to work and travel and do all of that together. And then you ended up finding a more permanent spot for the Airstream. And then later down the track, there's even more further evolutions of the brand. Can you talk a little bit about how you were able to lean into all the different evolutions of the business and what that looked like from then until now?
So originally, yes, we started with the Airstream, and I had already developed a partnership with that area and the owner of that property. And the idea was I would park it there. In the meantime, that would be my home base. And then I would leave for events and take that out. But realizing it was a lot of work to take that trailer out of there because it's where it was like wedged into that little like area. It was really a lot of work. So I was like, this is not something that I can do weekly. So eventually, after doing that a few times, I was like, well, we need a second Airstream. So one
that you can take with you easier. Oh, okay.
So
good idea.
then, and I loved the property. I mean, it was thriving.
Yeah,
everyone loved it there. And like, I felt like I really got to create a community and really get a lot of returning customers and everyone. It was kind of like the spot to go was iconic and people looked for me. So when I wasn't there, they were like, oh no, where did she go? So it was kind of nice to have that home base still, but I still wanted to be able to take the Airstream to travel and do what I wanted to do. So that's when I ended up building out a second Airstream. And it was really fun. We did, I think the first tour that we did was a college tour. I had this idea to go to all the college campuses.
Oh, I love that.
And I had literally never really driven the Airstream by myself before. And we had already like booked this market and the Airstream was still almost being finished. And I left at like 9 o'clock at night. Never had tried to drive with the trailer before.
Oh my God.
And I was like, all right, we're doing it. And I just got on the road and drove up to Orlando. Our first stop was at UCF. And yeah, and I just kind of had to like learn as we went. And it was so fun. So we did UCF, Jacksonville, FSU, and then in Tampa, we stopped in Tampa, I think. So then we did Tampa and then came back down. And then it was fun. We got to do like all the music festivals down here, events all over South Florida.
That's amazing.
While still having the Airstream at the Alchemist.
Right.
Where it was parked there,
and you
our
would
home
just
base.
have like staff to be able to run the store. And so something that you just mentioned there is learn as we go. I feel like as entrepreneurs, that's something that you either is a skill that you are innately born with or you learn very, very quickly. If you are okay with learning as you go, what do you think are some of the things that you learned about yourself in the process of building a mobile store and then also realizing you wanted to have a community and having a home base? Like, what are some of those lessons that you've learned through this journey?
Learning from myself, I think I know that I've learned that I love spontaneity and I also love routine. So like it's hard because like half of me is like, go do this, do that. And then half of me is like, okay, I want that, routine base, which is why I think it was nice having the best of both worlds in that case.
I think that's really powerful because something that I spoke about with a previous guest, Diana Smith, she was on the podcast earlier in 2024. She talks about this balance specifically with a family, but this balance of wanting the stability of having a home, but also craving adventure and novelty and all of that. So I think it's really cool that you were able to blend the two together. At what stage did you decide, because those that now know the Wander Shop in its current format is that it's a brick and mortar store as well as online e-commerce. At what stage did you decide, okay, Airstream is no longer fitting the vision of the business anymore? And how did you make those decisions?
I think it was when it was getting really busy and it was just there's no space in there and I needed more space so that I could bring in more inventory and offer a like wider selection of things because, you could only fit so much in a 26-foot trailer. And I was kind of craving more to bring into the store, but I didn't have space to put it in. I didn't want to be super cluttered in there. And then one day I was literally just getting a smoothie at JB&C and I saw a for rent sign and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a brick and mortar. And I just called the number and one thing led to the next and I was in Flagler Village.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when you moved into that location and I was in the process of moving back to the United States and you were kind of my tether back to the United States. I was like, I'm just going to come to your store and let's go get juice and talk about how I'm going to survive moving back here. And I remember that store. And then from there, you were there for how many years?
3 years.
And then was it still a similar case of, okay, we need even more space? And that's how you moved into Oakland Park?
Yes and no. I mean, there was a lot of issues with that area with parking, which was a huge, huge factor. So that was kind of getting a little repetitive where people couldn't find a place to park. And even I couldn't find a place to park. I'm like, how am I going to open up my store and there's no parking? So I knew my lease was up. I was kind of it was also during COVID. So it was like 2020 or 2021, I think, is when my lease was up. So it was in actually April 2021, my lease was up. So I was like, I don't know what to do. Where's the world going? Do I want to take another risk and try a different area? And I had someone who had suggested the Oakland Park area. And I was like, well, there's not really much there yet. I don't know. It'd be a huge risk. But I just decided, I was like, I'm just going to do it. I got way better space, free parking. And the rent was very reasonable. And I was like, I'm just going to take a chance and I'll sign up 3 years and see how it goes. And if not, if that doesn't work out, then maybe that means that we're done.
Right. And obviously you're not done. Here you are 9 years later and you've opened up a second space next to you that's dedicated mostly to kids and gifts and menswear as well. So something that you've just said was, I just decided to lean into the risk and take the risk. And it seems like that theme of celebrate the unknown or embrace the unknown is kind of a guiding point for someone who's thinking of a business idea or is in this stage, especially because this episode will launch in January. So we're kind of leaning into this intention setting and vision setting and goal setting for the year. What would you say to somebody who's on that verge of being on the unknown, and maybe instead of celebrating it, they're a little fearful of it right now? What would you say to that person?
I always tell people, I'm like, if you have to go with your gut feeling, if it feels right, you have to go for it and don't look back. But it's also a lot of hard work that goes behind it. So you have to be prepared and mentally prepared to put in the work. Like, it's not, yes, you might get these opportunities to come to you that, you're like, okay, here, this just landed on your lap. And when you take it, you have to just full run, full speed. Just don't look back. Because if you start to feel like you're not into it, then you could get yourself into, you have to really have passion, I think. Yeah. You have to have the passion behind it. And if you really believe in it, you can make it work.
Yeah, that's so powerful, because the piece about go with your gut instinct, if it feels good, go for it. And also when the opportunity comes, take it. But then there's this behind the scenes action that nobody knows about, especially as someone, you're very well known on Instagram and social media, and people see, oh, the clothes and the travel and all this. And it's like, okay, but she was up till 2 a.m. taking inventory or painting a wall or fixing, like literally on her hands and knees fixing something, because you're everything for your business.
There's so much that goes behind the scenes.
So much. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such an important point, is have the passion, go with your gut instinct, take the risk, but also know it takes an immense amount of hard work to build the brand, to get the customer loyalty, to continue to take mini risks almost every single day.
Literally every day. And it's never ending. It's a vicious cycle.
And how do you find, kind of going back to this evolution, as you've gone from, I want to work and travel, I want this Airstream like 24/7 on the move, to then, okay, maybe I want a bit of best of both worlds, to now having built such a strong community of women and men, not just in South Florida, but honestly around the country, around the world, who are shopping online for you. How have you found this mindset of being able to lean into, okay, it's time to change and it's time to evolve and it's time to grow, whether it's a physical bigger space or it's this figurative bigger mindset that you have to jump into? What kind of drives you to keep moving forward for that?
I think it's energy for me, honestly. I can feel the energy shift, and I know that sounds like just
no, it's so true.
I mean, there's really no math behind it, because every single time I've ever done anything, it's been with absolutely no science behind my decisions. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, let's do it. Like, let's do it. Don't look back, kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm probably like, that's probably not what like business people want to hear, but sometimes you just have to, like, again, take those risks. And I think it's an energy shift. And knowing, like, you obviously have those, so you start to get those feelings, that's everything. Even with expanding into the second space, I had already started thinking, okay, I'm a year and a half into my lease. I want more. Like, I need more, and I'm getting stuck because I don't want to make the store look over cluttered, but I want to bring more products. And I had already started a small kids rack, and it was doing great. And I was like, I need to find a bigger space, because but I loved the location. Yeah. So when that opportunity came up, I jumped immediately. I was like, we'll take it, because I was not in my plans at all for the year, not on the bingo cards. But I just went for it when that happened, because I knew I wouldn't get the opportunity, and I loved where I was at. So it was like the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it's like taking, like you said, taking that opportunity when it comes and being almost preempting that opportunity. You were already thinking, I want more space, I need more space. I've tested out the product, it's working. And then so it was less jarring when the opportunity came. It was like, yes, thank you. But you weren't knocking the door down. You waited until that opportunity came to you. And I think that's a powerful point as well. I know with the podcast here, I've been wanting to run a podcast for so long, but I didn't know the equipment and the tech and how do I distribute the podcast? And Adrian here, we're filming right now and recording right now at Child & Company, who's my in-person interview home, Child & Company here in Boca. And she came to me and said, hey, we're going to open up a podcast space. Do you want to be our guinea pig for a couple months and test out the equipment? And I was like, yes. I was like, I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. I don't have that.
You make it work.
You make it work.
You do. You make it work. When you really want it, you make it work.
And you evolve with the podcast. We were doing weekly. I couldn't keep up with weekly by myself. So I did bi-weekly until now. I've been able to hire a team, and now we're moving back to weekly. And it's like of allowing the vision to still be there, but allowing it to evolve.
I think that's really important too. And I feel like that goes into like knowing how much you can handle and knowing when to take a step back as well to prioritize yourself, because you can't keep going if you're drowning.
Exactly. The business can't thrive if you're not thriving. And yeah, I love that. So speaking of vision, what's next on the bingo card, as you
On the
say,
bingo
for
card.
the Wander Shop?
Well, you just never know. But I am at a point where I feel like every 2 years since I started, it's always been an expansion, a growth, a project. And I just am like ready to just not have anything for a little bit. Like I want to really focus on the in-store because, there's just not a lot of shopping and everyone's kind of sick of corporate, going to the mall. And I think it's really important to have a really great in-store experience. And everyone, I have people ask me all the time, don't you want to open up a second location? And I just feel like I'd rather have one amazing location and then focus on online. And I really want to take a step back and really focus on like behind the scenes work. There's so many little like website projects I want to work on, focus on online, social media, and just getting creative. So that's kind of my next year thing, is just really starting to like focus on getting creative and being consistent.
I love that. And being like, I mean, I personally, it's probably about 25 minutes from my house. It's not that far. It's just South Florida traffic. And I will be like, okay, we're going to go shopping today, girls. And we'll go all the way to your shop because it's that experience. You walk in, the woman behind the counter, whether it's you or your mom or another one of your staff members, they either know your name or they already have stuff picked out for you. Like it's that experience. And I think there's a power in, now that you're going into year 10 right now, there's power in saying, okay, we've laid the foundation and let it be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can train other people to be able to handle that in-store experience so that you could go back to what you love, which is the creativity and the fashion, which is why you got into it from the first place. So
100%. That's exactly where I'm at. I feel like I kind of not lost that, but I just feel like in the process of doing and building out everything, it's just so chaotic all the time. And I feel like I'm like almost to the point of being like, I can't handle everything at once. So I'm really just trying to take that shift. And yes, like everything's laid out, foundation's good, just needs to run, and then we can grow in other areas.
In other ways. And things that light you up again, which is going back to that feeling of, okay, everything is going really well, but I'm feeling like I need more. And maybe it's not so much more space, as you said, it's more creativity or more passion bringing it back in.
And I think also for me too, I just want to like focus on me as well. I feel like I just so 100% ran full speed with the store that like I forgot about myself a lot. So I'm trying to really focus on me and, prioritizing myself as well.
And that's super common when you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, is you're in the business for so long that you forget that you are not your business solely. And you're at a stage now that the brand 100% speaks for itself. And so I think that's something that just, and again, people think that it's an overnight success. You're like, no, I've been at this for 10 years. Okay. And I'm just now feeling like, okay, I can take a little bit of a step back.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really powerful point, is you have been consistent and working on this for 10 years and cultivating the brand, cultivating the community, so that now you can go to that trip to Italy and not have to worry so much, or go to Joshua Tree and not have to worry about so much. So it's just, the consistent and the hard work is so important. So speaking of travel, obviously your brand's called The Wander Shop. In terms of like countries or places, or I guess influences, what helps influence your style and what you bring to your store to then bring to the South Florida community?
So I've always loved the West Coast, California. I just have, I don't know, I'm drawn to it. And every time I go, I never have a bad trip. It's always so fun. And I just love how they dress over there. I think I'm definitely more West Coast style, just because it is a little bit more laid back, but also you can still dress up. So that's kind of what I like to bring into the store, is like pieces that you can dress down and then dress up, because you don't want, I tell people all the time when they come in, I'm like, okay, before you buy this, or like where else can you wear this to? Like, what are your other options? Like, do you have another wedding coming up, or you can wear this to the office and you can go out to dinner with it, So finding pieces that you can, utilize in multiple different events and places is what I think I try to go for. But I definitely like the more casual, like beachy vibe, which I think goes with South Florida. And it's kind of hard to find that here. So that's why I like to bring it here because you can't find it anywhere.
And I like the piece about the versatility because that just kind of goes back to one of like my core values around sustainability and it not just being something you buy once and then it just hangs in your rack. You're really getting creative about how you can buy high quality pieces because that's what you bring into your store, but also being able to use it multiple times. And when you say bringing it from the West Coast, that means you're going out to like trade shows basically and picking out from there. What's your process?
So yes, I do go out to LA to shop a lot, but I think just more so like picking up the trends from the West Coast, like the styles. Like I'm obviously like not bringing more New York, tons of black pieces.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's like
color is your thing. So
when people come into the store, like if I have black, I'm like, you got to get it while it's here because it's like we don't get a lot of black in the store, dark colors. It's all very light and beachy. So I do try to like bring the actual trends, but I do go to LA a lot. And I think they have trade shows everywhere, but I do like to shop at the West Coast shows because I think that they do, curate the brands that are exhibiting to more the West Coast buyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I will say, yeah, color is your thing.
Yes.
You walk into the store, it's like, whoa, you immediately feel this like uplifting energy, like you said. So and that's important to know if you're looking for more of those grays and blacks and whites, like, you do neutral too. But
I do like a lot of like, but more coastal neutral.
Coastal neutral, yeah, for sure. And so something that you mentioned when we did Two Truths and a Lie was that you don't overpack. Yeah. That you don't overpack. And we know after 18 years of knowing each other that that's just not true.
Yeah. Nope.
A whole bag for shoes and all that. But however, even when you do overpack, you're a highly organized person, which you'd have to be running a store at the size that it is at. So how would you say if someone who's just like, you know what, Kelly, I am just never going to be somebody who's a minimalist packer. Stop trying to make me into a minimalist packer. Okay, I see you. And from somebody who does like to bring different outfits and you definitely like stylize your trip. Each day has a different outfit and you try to like mix and match where you can. How do you manage packing and staying organized in that way?
Packing cubes all the way. I love to compartmentalize everything to the T. Like everything has a bag, everything has a place. I have to keep it organized like that or else I don't like a messy suitcase, So I do like to use the packing cubes. And actually what I did for the first time on my last trip to Italy was I packed per city in each packing cube. So I wasn't tearing apart a million different packing cubes to find one thing. I had already pre-put the outfits together. And then I was like, okay, these are all the Rome first 2 days in this packing cube. And then we had Positano in these packing cubes. And I even did it from day to night too. Because then that way you're not just like making a mess. And especially when you're traveling somewhere every 2 days, I don't want to repack every 2 days. Because I need the suitcase to be organized. So I don't want to just like throw it all in there.
Yeah. I was just thinking about our trip to Thailand, how useful it would have been if I just said, okay, this is the island packing cube. This is the mountain packing cube. This is instead of trying to take out, like you said, one shirt for this thing.
Because I think in the past I've done like, okay, all jeans are in here, all shirts are in here. But I think it really helped having it by city for this one. And then also I used Canva to create all of my outfits in a guide. So it's such a great tool on Canva where you can do the background remover and you can literally just style all your outfits. And I had it in a PDF so I could pull it up and everything is ready to go. I knew what I was wearing. But in the past, that was the first time I did that for this trip and it was amazing. But in the past, actually still, I keep it in my phone, but I have a folder called My Closet. And then I just take a photo of the item, do the background remover that iPhone offers. And then I have that in there and you can actually hold and then drag and drop. So you can actually like pick out an outfit using what you have in there. So that's also what I've done in the past.
I've never thought about that. And how do you think, obviously so that you know what you want to bring, but how do you think visually seeing each outfit helps you cut down on what you're bringing? Or I'm thinking in my head, you'd end up saving time while on the road, not being like, oh, crap, what am I going to wear today? It's just like
exactly
day 1 a.m., this is what I'm going to wear.
Or instead of making a mess and pulling out everything out of your bag, I'll just take a shower and then lay down for a sec and look at my phone and then pick out my outfit and then I'll go find it.
Pull it straight out. That's amazing. Wow. I'm just thinking even with kids, it would just be so helpful to have all of that. And you'd end up probably when you're seeing everything visually, when you're packing, you're able to be like, okay, wait, I'm only going to wear this one pair of shorts for one outfit. No.
Well, that happened to me on this trip. I had so many clothes put aside. And then as I was making my style guide, I was like, I don't need like 10 of these things. I've gotta say no.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, maybe you overpack a little bit, but it's not as bad as maybe it used to be because now you're staying super organized. And for somebody who might be listening right now who is in the content creation game or trying to build their brand, it is very helpful. Or perhaps you're working with brands where you have to bring a certain shirt or a certain pair of pants. That really helps as well to
Well, that
stay
makes it tough
organized.
too, because most of the time I will be trying to get content with everything too. So that's why I'm bringing a lot of outfits
Right.
where I feel like if I weren't necessarily doing a content trip
For the store.
then yes,
Yeah.
then I would probably pack a lot better. It's just half the time I'm like, I have this opportunity to get all this great content, so I'm going to pack as much as I can.
And how many like DMs do you get people being, oh my God, is that shirt from your store or is that bracelet from your store?
All the time.
Yeah.
Every day, daily.
So it's worth it, right?
Yes.
So you should be like, here's the link.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. And so you've mentioned California, that you really love LA. I know we have a crazy story in our friend group about Joshua Tree. And obviously you've mentioned Italy, and that's you've only been to one European country, but you've been to this country multiple times.
Yes.
And we can talk a little bit about those places in particular, but why in a world where it is ticking off how many countries you've been to and just like speed traveling and crossing off the bucket list, why do you love kind of to flip the script on that? Like, why do you love to revisit places over and over again?
I think for California, it's a little different, especially because I do a lot of work there. So I have to go out there anyway. But like for Joshua Tree, for example, because I've been there multiple times, I feel like it's almost like a home base kind of away from home. And it's a very like recharging space out there. And I think in my chaotic like world living here and running a business and trying to do all the things, it forces me to slow down a little bit, and it's just so calming. It's an energy vortex of the world. Like you can recharge so well out there, and it's just nice. And I know where everything is at. You know what you're getting yourself into, and either way, you're still gonna do new things. Every time we go out there, we discover new things to do, and more places are popping up, or we'll say, "Oh, we already did that this time. Let's do something else this time."
Yeah, like you have a chance to go deeper into the place.
Exactly.
And there's less of a learning curve, less of a let's scroll through TripAdvisor and find restaurants. You know the places that you like. Maybe you're open to trying new places. I think of when we go down to Dominical in Costa Rica. We're now going back in March. This will be our 5th or 6th time in like 2 years. And we know the drill. We slide on in. We pick up our pizzas ready for us to pick up. And then we go to the grocery store. Then it's like you have your thing.
Your routine. And I think when you're living day to day just in chaos, it's just sometimes nice to have that, especially when you actually want to vacation. Like you want to take that time to actually recharge. There's a time and a place. So there's a vacation for vacationing to actually relax. And then there's the trip that's going to be, you're going to be itinerary is jam-packed. Right. And that's okay. You can have both.
Yes, exactly. And it goes back to that, the balance between the routine and the going out into the world and trying something new.
Yeah. And then like for Italy, I went back again only because I felt like I was a little rushed the last time, and I wasn't like I felt like there was so much I wanted to do that we didn't get a chance to do, and it's huge there. So when I had the opportunity to go with all the girls, I went with Ben, my husband, the first time, and then we had a friend's wedding. So we kind of did half week, like a whole week of our honeymoon, and then a week with our friends for their wedding. So I just felt like there was so much more I wanted to do. And it was my first time in Europe. I was like, I want to go back, and I'm not ready to like go to another country because I want to almost check that off my list and be like, I feel like I'm good now. I got everything done that I wanted to do. Now I'm ready to go explore a new country.
Yeah, and that's super powerful. I know we have a little like scratch off map, and I'm so particular that I won't scratch off a whole country if I can't say that I've been to majority of the region. Right. So in India, I mean, we were there for 5 weeks, and I only have the tiniest little scratch because we only did the tiniest little part for 5 weeks. New Zealand, there's 2 islands. I've only scratched off the South Island because I haven't been in North Island yet.
Yeah,
it's like less about how many countries there are and more about the depth in which you're able to experience it.
Exactly.
And Joshua Tree, I'd love for you to tell a little crazy story about someone in your family that had a really interesting experience.
A very interesting experience. Yes, we went out there for my bachelorette party because that's what I wanted to do for my bachelorette. I didn't want to have a crazy, party. I just wanted to relax and I wanted my friends to experience Joshua Tree because I had been out there so many times and none of them had been. And so we Went out there. Kelly was 30, I think 30 or 31 weeks pregnant, my cousin.
Yeah, I think it was close to 32. I
She
remember
was
somewhere
between,
around there. Yeah,
between
maybe it was
there.
30,
And she had
yeah.
gotten the okay from her doctor. It was okay to travel, no big deal. And we got out there, and we had already had a few days out there, but did not sleep very well the one night. And then her and Kimberly were like, we're going to go to the hospital, make sure everything goes okay. And we get a call. We're like, okay, well, we're going to just start to get ready for the day and just keep us posted. And we get a call, and I thought they were kidding, but she's like, no, she's having the baby. I'm like, what? You're having the baby right now?
But didn't you guys have a sound healing the day
okay.
before?
So we did do the sound bath the night before, and she said that he was kicking like crazy, dancing, and like now if you know Ashton, that sounds just like him. He was like, all right, get me out of here, this looks like fun, I'm having FOMO. And he's such a Leo. He's born August 1st. It was really crazy because, like I said, Joshua Tree is an energy vortex. And I even think that Kelly made like a joke or something. Like I want to say she had made a joke that was like, oh, what if I had the baby or something like that.
On your bachelorette party.
Then literally, I'm like, you got to be careful what you say out in Joshua Tree because it is such an energy vortex with the manifestation, and whatever you say probably is going to come true. So, so we had the sound bath, and she said he was like jumping like crazy. And next day, that's when it happened. And it was the most beautiful morning, which was crazy too. It was blue skies. Kimberly and I had went on a little hike walk in the morning. And then when they went to the hospital, all of a sudden, like it started to get really cloudy, and we didn't really know what was going on yet. We were just in kind of panic mode trying to get her stuff to the hospital for her. So once we found out she was having the baby. And then we come back and we're like, oh my gosh, there's ashes flying all over. There was some type of fire that was happening a little bit of ways, and the whole sky was bright red. We get back to the Airbnb, and there's just ashes all over the pool deck, in the pool, just covered in black ash. And at this point, she didn't know what she was having, a boy or a girl yet. And finally, we got a hold of her. She said, okay, they had the baby. They still didn't have a name because she was only 31 weeks. And we get back, and I had
her partner wasn't out there with her.
Nope, he wasn't there. And we had the balloons that said batch bash. And we get back from the hospital, and the only 3 surviving balloons was ASH, ash. And we
oh
were
my
all,
God, I just got full body chills.
We all were
I
like,
can't deal with that.
What are the odds of that?
And the ash on the floor.
And the ash on the floor. And it's like August 1st, like prime Leo season. There's a fire sign energy. And we had talked to Kelly. We had the craziest story to tell you. Like, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but the baby needs to be named something with Ash, like Ashton, Ashley, if it's a girl. And Ashton was actually on like the top 3 of like her list of baby names. And then the lady in the delivery room, her son was named Ashton. So it's just like all these signs were just all like, okay, so she obviously named him Ashton, but it was just like such a like crazy moment. And it was I know it was so scary because, they had to end up airlifting him over to another hospital because in Joshua Tree it's a 50-bed hospital, so they weren't equipped for this. They had to actually airlift a incubator over to there and then take him back. It was scary but crazy, and it all worked out. Everything's fine now.
Now we know him as the little fireball Ashton who's always dancing.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So and I think it was really special. It's just, but it was one of those crazy stories.
One of those crazy stories, honestly. Wow, that's nuts. And I mean, obviously, we were all like praying during that time, and just grateful that you guys were able to be out there with her as well during that time. And I guess speaking of girls' trips, kind of taking a different turn, but you are the planner in your group, you're the planner in your family, you've always been the planner. And even, you're doing your bachelorette and you do girls' trips with your friends domestically. You just recently planned a multi-city Italian girls trip.
That was definitely the biggest trip I've ever planned.
That
for
is
sure.
a lot.
It was a lot of work.
Yes, welcome to my world as a travel advisor. But is there anything that you've learned as you are, VIP girly girl, like you are a gal's? What's the word I'm looking for? you are a girl's girl. Like, you love to be with your girlfriends. You love to bring them experiences and really cultivate that experience for them, right? As someone who is a planner, like, what would you say to another fellow type A planner in a friend group who
Most
wants
likely a Leo or a fire sign.
exactly. What would you say to somebody who wants to kind of build out their first girls trip, whether it's just going down to the Florida Keys or maybe they're going to Mexico? What's the kind of your top piece of advice for that?
I think my top piece of advice would be to just make sure you're curating like who's on the trip, make sure you guys all get along and it's, a people that are easygoing as well. I think that's really important. And as the one that's planning, I think you need to keep in mind, everyone's schedule, their timeline. Like not everyone's going to be a morning person. Not everyone's going to be a nighttime person. So you have to keep those into consideration when planning and like make sure you have the girls that wake up early in one room together so they're not bothering the other girls and, vice versa. I think that's really important and just to be mindful of everyone and just take that into consideration. When booking things, you don't want to do super early tours. You need to make sure you plan for some downtime so that it's not everyone is kind of like in a crazy mode. Everyone gets their piece a little bit and I think that would be like the biggest key. That's what I did for the trip. I knew a lot of the girls were not early birds. So any tour that we did, it was usually past noon. I think there was one that we had to do at 10, which I felt like was still pretty reasonable.
Like, I've been up for 4 hours now.
Yeah, I know. And then it's like, the girls that get up early, we were like, okay, we're going to go have breakfast. And whenever you guys are done getting ready, no big deal. We'll just meet up with you. Just come find us. And, it's okay to split up and have the people that, you don't want to force someone to wake up every day for 2 weeks at your timeline. And just letting everyone have their own time you have to be mindful. Everyone wants their little bit of privacy as well. So just being mindful of everyone else. And if you can do that, then it'll be a successful trip.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like with the splitting up into a couple different groups, I remember when I was in Europe backpacking with some friends in 2013, I am not a shopper. Like you definitely help me when I go to your store because I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. You just put stuff in a thing for me. I'm not great at shopping. But I have really, really good friends where they're going to certain destinations because of the markets and because of certain stores where they're going to get a great VAT refund on. So they're going to go to Prada, they're going to go to Gucci. And it's just not really something that I personally like to do. So it's good to have a mix of friends sometimes, or unless you're either going like all in, all adventure or all in, all cultural. But if you do have a mix of friends, make sure there's not just one friend who likes to shop because otherwise they're going to feel bad for asking for time or they're going to feel resentful for not getting the time. Whatever the activity is, doesn't have to just be shopping.
And when I was doing the planning, I would always ask beforehand, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. You can either join in or not join in. It wasn't like a requirement, but just let me know ahead of time if you're in for this so then we can book the excursion or whatever and I can make sure everyone's accounted for.
Yeah. And what do you think is one of your favorite benefits of traveling with your friends?
Just the bonding because, when you go out to dinner, yes, you have that hour, but you don't really get to like bond with them. And I think the best part is the getting ready, get all the girls being crazy and putting their makeup on and putting their outfits on, doing the outfit videos. I just think the getting ready part is always so much fun.
It's like college again.
Yeah.
When do you ever have your friends just come over to get ready if you're not living with them or, once you get married or you have a big girl job and you're not hanging out on a Tuesday night at 10 p.m. before you go out to a bar or a concert, whatever it is that you do in college. Kind of get that feeling again.
That's always like I feel like we always bond the most there and then we have the best time. Like those are the best memories is the getting ready.
Yeah, it's so fun. You're now sparking interest for me. I need to reach out to some of my college friends and get a little girls trip going. And then finally, the last thing I'd love to wrap up with, I've really appreciated your time. It's funny when we've known each other for 18 years to kind of see not a different side, but I guess a different layer of who you are. I've really enjoyed it. But the last thing I'd love to hear about is kind of what can we expect for maybe fashion or just trends coming up in 2025?
I think that, at least in my book, I don't always follow all of the trends because sometimes they're just a little too much.
Yeah, your own version of it. But what can we see in your store?
Yes, because I feel like, you're going to see these crazy trends and I try not to get anything that's overly trendy that's gonna not, I do look for those timeless pieces, but also still having a little bit of trendy things I think is the goal for me when I'm doing my buying for the store. But I'm really into right now simple outfits, but with pops of color. So kind of going a little bit more like building your capsule wardrobe, having those great pair of jeans that you know are going to last you forever. And then even just a simple top, but like accessorize with like a fun colored shoe or a bag. I think that for me is like what I'm really into right now. But I know for a lot of my buying going into, I'm already into summer 2025 of all my buying. And you're going to see a lot of baggy, slouchy vibes.
That's definitely up my alley.
Yes.
I'm like, thank God.
Yes, like the baggy jeans are coming back, low rise.
Oh no, you lost me.
I will
You
will
lost
say
me.
the one that I'm not stoked on is the capris.
Oh,
The
like
the tight
Oh no.
the denim tight capris.
This went downhill really fast,
I know.
Marissa.
I saw that on my thing on like one of my orders, like the catalog, and I was like, no, we're not going there. Like and those are the things is sometimes those are too trendy, especially living down here in South Florida, that I'm not going to buy those pieces for the store. So in 2025, a lot of people are going to be looking for those capsule pieces, basics to have, and then getting a couple of those trendy pieces to keep you kind of on trend, but not buying so much of the trendy things.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
And then, of course, going into spring, you're going to see a lot of really fun colors. So
Okay, so capris, low rise, and baggy. All right. Well,
yes.
and if you want to be trendy and stylish, but not have to go fully into that, go to your store. Whether you're in person in South Florida, which they can visit you in the Oakland Park area, it's called the Wander Shop, and then the little kids kind of
Little
offshoot,
Wander Shop, yes.
little Wander Shop,
Mhm.
and then also online. You have a website.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are online. We are 2 blocks from the post office. Things go out usually that day.
Wow.
Which is great. We try to be really good about getting all the orders out right away. So it's super fast, easy.
Yeah. I guess that's another, I just thought about this. Like in a world of Amazon same day arrivals, how have you seen the e-commerce space?
We've been doing pretty well online. It's definitely growing a lot more. I don't put a lot of time and energy into the website, which that's like what another thing I want to focus on in 2025 is kind of spending more time on that. But if you kind of have to be good with like SEO and all of that to be able to bring your page up and
also just like people expect things to arrive the next day. So as a small business, like almost a one-woman show, it's like people forget that that there's real people behind
and
these
I think
orders.
that I'm really lucky to have an amazing clientele, customer base that they're always so understanding and so great, and they want to support small. Like I even had a girl that I don't know how she found us, but she was from, I don't know, maybe like the Midwest or something. And I was emailing her back and forth and she needed to exchange something. And she was like, wow, you've just been so great. Thank you so much. And I think even as online shoppers, they want that great customer service as well online. When you are trying to email a big corporate company, sometimes you don't hear for a couple of days and it gets filtered into who knows what database they have. And just hearing from a real person, I think people are, that they want that. Even as a consumer online and they're not coming in store, I think that they still want that.
Yeah, and it's definitely evident. I mean, this episode will air after, but you have now been running Shop Small Saturday. Is that what it's called? Yes. For how many years now? This has got to be
It's been a while. I think I kind of started it from like even when during the Airstream, because that was like it's all part of American Express who kind of started it, and they would send us. They would say, are you going to be a part of Small Business Saturday? Are you going to participate as a business? And they would send us tons of pens and little like marketing pieces for Shop Small. And I've always loved it. And as soon as I had extra space to be able to bring some vendors and have a few vendors outside or in the store, I love being able to share my space with other, small business owners that don't have the opportunity to have a storefront where they are just online or do pop-ups. So I love being able to like share my space with them.
And it's a massive event now. I mean, you have tons of vendors and it's evident that we're gearing, hopefully, at least from what I see, is we're gearing more and more towards trying to shop small and locally. Just about how many people are turning out just for that event alone. People are like saving their whole Christmas shopping for that market.
They do.
So it's awesome.
They know. I feel like it's now a thing, and this year we are expanding a whole nother block.
Wow.
So we have 50, I think we're at like 50 vendors right now.
Okay, you're a busy lady.
Yes.
You're a busy lady.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, because at the time of recording this right now, that's in like 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks. So okay, fun.
Got a lot to do.
That's awesome. Well, Marisa, I so appreciated this conversation and our time. We always wrap up these episodes with 3 rapid fire questions. I don't share them before, so you're not prepared, which I know you love. Okay, number 1, which country or place has made the biggest impact on you?
Probably California, I'd have to say, just, in general, like I love everything there. I think California, it's where I feel like I've found myself a lot too. So I would have to say California.
Amazing. And number 2 is, what is your must-have travel accessory or item? Like, what do you have to have on a plane or
Cell phone.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, it has everything you need.
It has everything we need. Oof, that's a really tough one. I've been really loving the strap, the phone strap.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You really?
I got a cute gold chain one.
Oh, my gosh. I love you.
Yeah, I needed it because then I just don't want to get I'm kind of chaotic, and I don't want to place my phone
Put it
somewhere.
in your back pocket and then somebody takes it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
funny.
So that's been a great one that I've used. And let me think of some of the,
At least it's cute, right?
Yeah, no, it's cute. Yeah, it's cute.
Not the plastic covering one that you see them wear when they're going diving.
No, it's been great, I think, for especially if you're going to another country, because you want to make sure your phone is on you at all times. And so that's been a great piece. And then like the gadget queen, everyone's like, where'd you get that? I'm like, oh, I always have all the gadgets, but I can't.
Do you travel as a content creator? Do you travel with a tripod or something like that to be able to take?
Sometimes I will, depending, because the tripod is kind of heavy. But I usually would just have my vlog camera tripod, so I'll usually use that. And then I've got the sticky grip on here, so I can kind of put my phone on any glass.
Stick that on glass. Oh, interesting.
So that's been. I kind of ditched the tripod after I got this.
Yeah,
so.
super. Yeah, that's super handy. And then the last question is, what is the biggest life lesson that you've learned while traveling?
Ooh, you kind of have to be patient, I think. And sometimes you have to go with the flow when things don't go the way they're supposed to. Like when I went to Atlanta and got stuck there for 4 days.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing that.
So you just kind of have to always make sure that you are patient, I think, and just know that things can go wrong, but have a backup plan ready, or just be prepared to make a shift.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's tying up the whole episode right there, is making a shift, evolving, being okay with changing and kind of going with it.
Yeah, and it just is what it is.
It just is what it is.
It is what it is. And you just have to move on. You can't dwell. And
being angry is not going to change that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Just have to kind of go with the flow.
I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you for people that are have not heard of you yet and they want to connect with you online or say hi. What is the best place for them? Where should they say hi?
If you would like to go to my personal Instagram, it's Marisa Folz with 1 S, Marisa Folz. And then the store is To The Wonder Shop on Instagram. And yeah, those are my 2 home bases that I pretty much live on.
Amazing. And I'll link to the show notes, your website, and all the things where they can find you. It'll be in the show notes there. And thank you. Thank you. All right, what did we think? I loved getting to know my friend Marisa a little bit better through this interview, and I left feeling so inspired to recommit to my own business and life vision, and maybe even take a look at where my life is asking me to pivot and grow and dive headfirst into that. I think that's one thing I took from Marisa's story, is she just dives headfirst when the vision is telling her it's time to change. I hope that you got that message too. Huge thanks to Marisa for spending the time with us. Lots of love to you, my friend. And for those listening who are ready to take the leap into an amazing vacation, a bucket list trip, or even a staycation, shoot me a message and we can have a free 20-minute consult call to start planning your trip together. I would love nothing more than supporting you and creating memories that will last a lifetime as your trusted travel advisor. And that's all for today. I will see you on the next episode. Keep on exploring, my friends. That's a wrap on today's episode. If you're feeling on fire and lit up to start planning the bucket list adventure you're craving, let's work together. I'm here to manage all of the hassle of planning, hand select your options specifically for you, and give you the inside scoop that no AI itinerary can give you. Click the link in the show notes to look through our pricing and packages. You're one click away from the adventure of a lifetime. This is your reminder to keep on exploring.